Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah,
You're here because you want to get smart fast.
that's the idea.
And today we're really focusing on you, the brand new ham radio operator. You've passed the test, got that license.
Yep, ready to get on the air.
Exactly. And we've been looking at QRZ.com itself and some, discussions about why something might get overlooked. Your QRZ.com profile.
Right. It's surprisingly important, especially when you're just starting. So our mission today really is to dig into why it's such a useful tool, not just what it is, but its value.
Yeah, because one source we saw called it your free personal website in the ham world. Okay, so
Okay.
let's break that down. For someone totally new, what is QRZ.com? Why should they care?
Okay, so QRZ.com is basically the main global database for ham operators. It's the first place you go, usually if you hear a call sign and want to know who it is, where they are.
A lookup tool.
A lookup tool, yeah, but it handles things like QSL card exchanges, those confirmation postcards.
Right, the tradition.
That's it. And it's where operators share info about themselves, their station, their whole setup.
So like a ham radio social directory. Someone called it a digital business card.
Yeah.
I kind of like that analogy. It's how you present yourself.
Precisely. And that leads right into, what makes a good profile, what info really helps you connect with people after you've made that first contact on the air.
Okay, so the essentials.
Hmm.
What does every new ham need on there? Name and location, obviously. But what's the real benefit?
Well, it just adds that person layer, doesn't it? Knowing roughly where someone's transmitting from gives context. You might find, oh, they're near that town I visited, or it just makes the connection feel a bit more real.
Yeah, less abstract. Connecting with a person, not just, radio waves.
Okay, what about the biography section? This sounds like where you can really show who you are.
Absolutely. The bio is your spot to tell your ham story. How'd you get into it? What parts excite you? Are you into, DXing, digital modes, maybe public service?
RX too. Oh, definitely mention projects, tinkering with antennas, building a kit. That's a great way to find common ground. It turns it from just data into like a story.
Right. Instead of just logging a call sign, it's, oh, I talked to Dave, who's also trying to figure out FT8. Photos were mentioned, too. Should new hams bother with that? Seems like extra effort, maybe.
I think it's worth it. It can make a big difference. A profile pic, helps people picture who they're talking to. Maybe a shot of your radio setup, your antenna.
Even the shack cat.
Huh. Yeah, even the shack helper. It just makes the profile more inviting, more human. Helps bridge that gap from just voices.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Scrolling through and seeing faces and setups would feel more like a community. QSL information.
Mm-hmm.
For someone maybe still fuzzy on QSL cards.
Right. So QSLs are confirmations of a contact. It's a really old ham tradition.
Hmm.
Your profile is a perfect spot to say how you want to exchange them. Do you like getting paper cards in the mail?
Or the electronic ones.
Exactly. Are you using EQSL or Logbook of the World, LOTW? Just stating your preference makes it super simple for the other person. It respects the tradition, but makes it practical.
Good point. Clears
Yeah.
things up. What else? Contact details, but with a note on privacy. Right?
Yeah, you control that completely. Some folks add an email address for follow-ups, maybe arranging another contact, a STEGD. It's just about finding your comfort level between being reachable and, keeping info private.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Then the equipment list. Now, if you're new, maybe you've only got a little handheld. Is it still worth putting that down?
I'd say yes, even if it's just a basic starter rig. Listing what you do have gives people context. And it might even open doors. Someone might see your radio model and say, oh, I used that one. Here's a tip.
Ah, so it's a potential conversation starter, even with simple gear.
Exactly. Could lead to some useful advice, maybe even mentorship.
Okay. And last one mentioned was the grid square. Sounds a bit technical.
It is a bit, yeah. The Maidenhead Grid Square is basically a location code. It's used a lot for, awards and contests. If you think you might ever get into chasing awards or operating in contests.
Which a new ham might not know yet.
Right. But putting it on your profile helps others who are into that stuff. They need it to log the contact correctly for their awards. So even if it's not your focus now, it's useful info for others to see.
Gotcha. So it really seems like putting a bit of effort into this profile pays off. One source talked about enhanced visibility. What does that really mean in practice?
Well, think about it. Someone hears you, looks up your call sign. If they find a profile with a photo, a bit about you, it totally changes that lookup. It's not just data anymore.
That's a person.
It's a person, a friendly face, maybe a shared interest pops out. It makes that brief on-air chat much more memorable. It helps build an actual connection.
That makes total sense. It fosters that sense of community, which is the next
Yeah.
point, right? Community connection.
Exactly right. A good profile is like an open invitation. Someone sees you, share their interest in, say, satellite work, mentioned in your bio. They're way more likely to maybe send you an email, offer advice, suggest trying something together.
Finds your people within the hobby?
Finds your people, yeah. It helps you connect with others who are into the same niche things you are.
And we already covered how it smooths out the QSL exchange. Now, this term personal branding for a ham sounds a bit corporate.
Huh. Yeah, maybe the term is a little businesslike, but it's not about selling anything. It's more about just showing your personality, your passion. Your profile is where you express what makes your ham radio journey unique.
So it helped you connect with others who vibe with your style.
Kind of, yeah, and it builds your presence. I mean, I've actually heard of operators getting invited onto cool D expeditions because their profile showed they had like a specific skill or intense interest the team needed. It acts like a quiet introduction.
Wow, okay. That's a powerful angle. All right, I'm sold. A good QRZ profile is pretty key. How does a newbie actually set one up? It sounded straightforward in the notes.
It is, it really is. First step, just go to QRZ.com, register for a free account. You'll use your call sign for that.
Okay.
Once you're logged in, you can start adding the basics. Name, address what you're comfortable sharing, remember contact info.
And then the fun part, the bio and photos.
That's it. Put a little thought into your ham story for the bio. What got you hooked? What are you curious about? Then, yeah, upload a decent profile pic, maybe one of your station if you have one set up.
And keeping it updated was stress too. Why bother with that?
Well, it just shows you're still active, you know? If you get a new radio, try a new mode, work a special event station, updating your profile keeps it relevant. It gives people a current snapshot of your ham life.
All right, keeps it fresh. Okay, so let's connect this back. We looked at this document, the Digicom Cafe Radio on the Rocks Cafe Cast instructions, which mentioned a read, listen, engage model. How does the QRZ profile fit into that whole picture for a new ham?
Okay, so think about it. You make a contact that's maybe the listen or initial engagement. Then someone looks you up on QRZ. That's the read part.
Ah, okay. They read your profile to learn more.
Exactly. And if you have a decent profile with your story, your interests, that provides the context beyond the quick hello on the air.
So the profile is the deep dive after the initial contact.
You could say that, yeah. And a good profile, it definitely encourages more interaction. That's the engage part kicking in again. Someone reads your bio, sees you're also into, I don't know, building antennas.
They might reach out.
They might reach out, send an email, start a chat. It facilitates that next step.
So thinking about that, read, listen, engage, flow.
Yeah.
Once a new ham has their profile set up, what kinds of questions might they start asking? What's the next step in their engagement?
That's a really good question. Once they've got that foundation, they might start thinking, okay, how do I find other hams interested in digital modes like me? Or I put my QSL info up, but what's the proper way to actually send and receive these cards?
Or maybe even, what else is out there online besides QRZ for connecting with hams?
Precisely. The profile becomes the launch pad for asking those deeper questions and really diving into the community aspects of the hobby.
It really lays that groundwork.
It does. For building connections, exploring different facets, it's fundamental.
So for you, the listener, the new ham, setting up that QRZ.com profile, it's not just busy work. It really is a simple but pretty powerful first step into the wider ham community.
Totally agree. It's way more than just your name in a list. It's your introduction. It's how you start building those relationships that make the hobby so rewarding.
And having it well maintained, keeping it current, it just makes your on-air contacts richer, opens doors, leads to new opportunities maybe.
It really does. It helps you tap into that whole spirit of ham radio, the connections, the sharing, the tradition.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. As you start building out your profile, think about how consciously shaping that digital presence on QRZ might actually influence your own journey in ham radio. How might it shape the connections you make? Something to chew on as you get started.